I sent you the op-ed that she wrote for the Telegraph, and I wanted to ask you a couple things. Well, I'm talking about Hayes.
Mhm.
A couple. See if you could respond to something she wrote, and I'll just read the quote. She said, "There's still a huge amount of talent in this U.S. team, but with so many of the squad playing solely in the NWSL, it doesn't offer enough diversity to their squad in terms of playing against different styles." She
Mhm.
said, "Here in Europe, where you're playing in different competitions, Champions League or Cups, players aren't going to be phased by other things because they come up against different football week in, week out." Is this correct? What do you think? Is NWSL uh, limiting the experiences that players are getting?
Well, I always try to see the things in the positive way. And
Okay.
I would love to say that for me, the NWSL provide a unique experience. Okay. Yes, it's very defined style, and we need to take in consideration the NWSL is the most transitional league in the world. The physical component and the transitions, you see the games in Europe and you don't have this kind of transitions. When the team recover the ball, they sometimes keeping more the possession. O sea, the pace is slow. But here in US is you need fly. Okay, we need player that fly. This can limit the player. For me, when I was talking with the 17th and say, okay, we are really, really good about this, right? Instead of take this as a limitation, let's take this as a strength. But then let's add some components to the menu. This is the way I was talking with them. We have
Huh.
this base in the menu, but let's add other components. Let's add more this decision making, these tactical things that sometimes in US we don't see, right? But the base is unique, and the base is the best. Any other countries in the world have this base, this transitional and physical component of the game. Only US have. So let's make something different, right? Adding more components to the menu, but not restrictive. But for me, it's a really good advantage. It's not a problem. And for this, I really, really enjoy coaching the under 17s because it was the opportunity to have this base and then add in these tactical things.
Got it.
Other teams in Europe, yes, Emma is right. They prepare differently every game because they put more focus in tactical component, but they don't have this strong or this strength, sorry, about physically. And they need to prepare differently, right? But for me, instead of say like a negative, let's take like a you are privileged. In US, I tell the player always, these players are privileged. And when we are coaching them, we are privileged to have them. But then it's our job as a coach to make them versatile, different. But it's our job. Let's provide to the player with other tools, with other drills, with other make them open to see but not losing their things that they are unique. Keep the things that you are unique and then add in other things. In Europe, you cannot have this. You have to put the focus completely in the tactical component because you don't have this physical component like here. I don't know
Hmm.
if I explain good, but for me, it's not that funny. But if you put only this, you play only physical and transitional, yeah, you are only one version. But let's
Yep.
try to have different versions. But this is that the job here of the coach is necessary. So I feel like Emma Hayes will have a lot to work, but she's really good on this to add in these ingredients to the base menu, right?
Okay. Man, there's so much more we could talk about with that. Like, where does the base menu come from? Like, is that a product of college soccer? And what are the superpowers? Is it? I mean, you've talked about physical superpowers. Is it
Yes.
endurance? Is it what? Like, what is that?
It's
A lot of
endurance,
questions there.
it's fast, is and the mentality. For me, the big difference in US is the mentality. The player you coach or you see the youth environments like in the clubs, and they play the same way. It's like they want to win, they go forward, they go vertical, they want to score, 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 right? And this is amazing. And you see this and like, oh, they are something different. They have these superpowers. Um, I feel like this comes from the US mentality. You guys here are so competitive. You want to win always. And this is something that is inside the American people. And it's very unique. And this made, for me, when I was moving here, this made them one of the most attractive things to move here was I want to coach this player that they want to win always, right? But it's not about sport. I feel like in the day by day in US, the people is this way. No, you want to be better every day. You want to be the best, winning, and I feel like this is very very unique. And you can see in the youth level in the clubs, then in the college as well. And this is something that is inside the DNA of the player.
Okay. All right. I gotta ask. You were hired in the fall of 2021 by U.S. Soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think to work, quote, work across age groups with a focus on the under 17 team, of
Mm-hmm.
course. What happened? Why did you leave? Why did you leave your job at the federation? It seems
Well,
like we could use you there still. You know?
was different things, right? Some when happens something, it's not only one thing. You know, there was different things, right? In January, Ernie Stewart was leaving the federation. I feel like he was a big mentor for me. He was a person that was understanding perfectly and fit about, I fit really good with his ideas and the style that he was managing all the national teams. And then there was like, okay, some changes will come. And we didn't know exactly how they changed in the structures, but was very obvious that will be some changes, right? And then I was in Qatar with Telemundo broadcasting the men's World Cup, and I have an incredible experience with them. Was not sure if I could continue doing this, if I continue with my role in the federation. And Telemundo wanted that I go with New Zealand and Australia. Yeah, and then was some different things that. Was finally make this decision to put more focus in the broadcasting pathway than in the coaching, because all the changes that yeah happened there, right?
I mean, that makes perfect sense. I want to ask you more about your work on TV in just a minute, but
Mhm.
um,
Perfect.
you've talked about the tactical tradition of a place like Spain, your home
Mhm.
country, where men and women both grow up with a certain understanding of how to play the game tactically. Can you elaborate on that and also like explain that a little more? And also, how could it be achieved in the USA? You know?
Yeah, I feel like well, here in US there are this component that in all the levels, you want to win, right? And
Yep.
in Spain and in
Which is a
Europe,
problem. Which is a problem, right? It's a problem all the way down to like U10.
well, depending if you no manage this good. It's always good if you use as a motivation, but not as a this is only our result. If you have this as a result, for me, it's a problem. If you use this as a motivation, it's a big, big advantage, right? I feel like in Spain, the process is slow and the teams have more pace about, okay, we develop players, but it's not only win the most important thing, right? For example, I put example before the FCB Barcelona B that Onyeka is there. Last year they did a no good season about results, but in the club was good. No one say, oh, this was a failure or a problem, because the job that they wanted was develop the players. And when you see this young player having these games with the first team, okay, this is the successful, no, the success of this team. I feel like this is important. And then other thing important for me in Spain is the structure about the teams and the club. You start playing with a team with Atletico Madrid, FCB Barcelona, or other teams, can be not these teams that play in the first division, but all have like a different levels and this the structure, right?
Mhm.
Here in US, sometimes the environments are very spread out, There are a lot of options to play, but sometimes the talent is spread out or the structure of the teams is not the same objective. No, when you enter in Spain in a club, you have very clear defined what is the process, the pyramid. No, like I'm going pa pa pa. I'm
Yeah.
here. Sometimes the environments are very different, and you don't have this focus on this. So for me, it's not like it's a problem, but probably because the country is so big and there are a lot of options, probably we need here in US more clear structure, right? When I come here 6 years ago, the DA league that was under the structure of the federation, I
Right.
think was a really good idea because was like the more similar to Europe, right? Like the clubs working in this environment, everything was very no say structured, and was like the umbrella of the federation, right? But then this shut down, disappeared, stop the and then now it's like a woo, all this talent and all these pathways are no different, and sometimes it's more difficult have this um, pathway the same clear than in Europe.
Right. Yeah, I don't know that we've really ever fully gotten an explanation for the end of the development academy, but I'll leave that for another podcast.